The judge's decision represents a pivotal moment in the regulatory landscape, specifically in terms of the Securities and Exchange Commission's jurisdiction over cryptocurrencies traded on exchanges. By distinguishing differences between the institutional investors and retail investors, the ruling effectively restricts the SEC's oversight to the former. It rests on the premise that institutional investors were better informed about XRP's security-like characteristics during Ripple's past presentations, while retail traders lacked similar knowledge. In this video, guys, we're talking XRP. We're going to be talking about the technicals, we're going to be talking about what's been going on and the on-chain data for XRP. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, you know what to do. Smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. But above everything, guys, if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, what are you waiting for? The link is in the description below. Go check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. Let's jump right down into this thing, right? So we hit target, and a little bit sooner than expected, but we hit target nonetheless, right? So if you've been following along over the last few days, which I hope that you have, then you would know that we've been talking about a move to the 79.91 to 93.76 cent range. Admittedly, I thought this was going to take a little bit longer to get there, and we're going to probably get rejected from this range here at the 61.78 to 66.65. But as you can kind of see here, we had that fundamental news that broke. The judge basically said that XRP is not a security, i.e. XRP has the clarity that it is not a security, and that is the big takeaway here. This is a battle that Ripple have won. It does not mean, and we should obviously remember that it doesn't mean that the case has come to an end. This is just one battle that has been won by Ripple, and there are many others still fighting on. So just bear that in mind. Now, we can see here that because of this ruling that XRP is not a security, we saw a pretty sizable move to the upside. Now, XRP was not the only one. We saw a total of around $220 million of liquidations, which sounds like it's a lot of money, but actually we saw a lot worse when we were actually having more crises in the space. So for example, we saw FTX liquidating about $850 million on their own across the entire crypto space, whereas this move to the upside has liquidated $220 million of short positions, right? So it sounds quite sizable, but actually it's pretty standard to be in around the 150 to 200 million when there are actually participants in the space. When, of course, the demand is low, then obviously there's less trading activity. Less trading activity generally means lower liquidations. So it's sizable for the amount of people that are in the space right now, but it's not a sizable amount if you look at the bigger macro picture, if that makes sense. So we have seen some pretty sizable moves to the downside, to the liquidation side of things. So interestingly enough, obviously we saw this move up. We hit our higher range target very, very nicely here, and this is basically the rules of Elliott wave theory being applied perfectly. And there's something else that's probably going to be worth talking about here. So if I bring up the next chart here, this one here, you can see that it's actually a 38.2% retracement level right there on the Fib scale as well. Now, this particular Fib scale is looking at that move to the upside on a much bigger macro level. So this is the weekly time frame, and you can see here that that C wave structure that we've been plotting happens to coincide with the 0.382 Fib level, so a natural point for reversal. Again, nothing unusual is occurring here. We've got to bear in mind a couple of those fundamental things. One, Ripple is still going to trial with the SEC over the institutional sales and the fact that there wasn't enough clarity and the fair notice defense and all these kind of things, right? So there's still a lot of things going on in the background. So the case isn't over, it's still ongoing, they're going to trial, and so we're not going to be seeing that kind of moonshot right now. But there are some fantastic things that we have to remember. XRP with clarity means that the exchanges in the US can now go ahead and list it, right? They can now list XRP knowing that they're on the right side of the law. And one of the other things you've also got to bear in mind here is that this also changes the entire financial or cryptocurrency landscape over in the US, right? And this is because now the SEC cannot just go and say Cardano is a security, for example, or Algorand is a security, or, Monero is a security, whatever cryptocurrency they want to kind of point a finger at and see what sticks. They can't just go ahead and do that now because basically sales on exchanges are not sales of securities. And essentially that is what the judge has ruled, not just for XRP, but for many cryptocurrencies. It's a big turning point and basically allows Gary Gensler's grip on the space to kind of be eased off quite a bit. So really big news for all of crypto. Now for XRP, we can see price action has respected the moves. We were talking about a move up to the 93 cent level. Let me find that up here again so we can get the exact number, 93.76. We wicked up to slightly higher, to admittedly 93.80. So we were 0.04 out, something like that. So, I'll take that as a win. And so for the most part, we can see good growth. But now we've achieved this target, what's the next expectation? Well, profits to be taken. Okay, now we can take a look at this from many different ways. We could take a look at the liquidation side of things. We could take a look at this from an Elliott wave theory point of view. We could take a look at it from a smart money concepts point of view, or we could really strip it back to basics. I think for now, we're going to come over into our member website, which of course, guys, if you're not a member, you're missing out. Membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪crypto.io in the description below. Check it out. You won't regret it, I don't think. There's so much more on offer for members, so why not check that out if that's of interest to you. Now, if you are a member and you have the data perk, then you can get hold of the data zone, and the data zone has XRP data. And if I load this up, we're going to be taking a look not necessarily at the overview of data here, because these are just kind of general metrics. I do actually like a lot of these though, because it really highlights the power of XRP for cross-border payments, right? And it's obviously what it's been designed for, but not the sole use case, of course. But we can just see down here that there have been 1.3 million transactions on XRP, okay, and the fees that were paid were only 5,288 XRP, which is $4,300, and the average transaction value was $13,000. So the average gas fee being 0.0038. So basically it costs so cheap. It's fractional for the actual transaction cost, and of course it's incredibly quick. So if you're looking at moving money, XRP is the way to go, and it's fantastic at that. Liquidations, we can obviously briefly take a look at this. We can see in the last 24 hours that there's been $61 million of liquidations for XRP. Let me go ahead and just move myself down here so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. There is the $61 million of liquidations. Bybit was the largest exchange with the liquidations, coming in at $22.34 million, of which basically 56.74% were short positions and 43.26% were long positions, which is quite interesting because, as we can kind of see here, that the liquidations for shorts are not actually that much more disproportionate to that of the longs, which means that people were trying to go long right at the very top, thinking that the thing was going to the moon, which is quite unfortunate, but that's retail investors acting emotionally, not logically, and we can kind of see that within this data here quite obviously as well. That being said, though, we can see obviously OKX takes second spot, Binance in third, Huobi in fourth, BitMEX, and then so forth, right? Interesting, but that's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the wallet data, okay? I'm going to move myself back up into that top corner there to get me out of the way. There we go. So up here, we can see some interesting things. We're just going to focus in on these three larger sized wallets for now, because this is really where we want to be tracking those larger movements and whether or not those particular participants are coming out of the space or coming into the space. Are they buying this pump, or are they in fact using this pump as exit liquidity for XRP, right? Because of course the case is still ongoing. This is a fantastic win, but it's it's essentially just going to cause a little bit of hype. Doesn't necessarily mean this is the moonshot just yet. So 10,000 XRP or more in your wallet over the last 7 days is actually down 0.05. So we can see it has actually started to kind of waver down a little bit here. So as we can see, 269,288 wallets yesterday. The day before that, it was hovering on 269,821. So it's come down approximately 600 wallets yesterday. So yes, people have been using this move to the upside as exit liquidity at the 10,000 XRP or more in their wallet level. Moving over into the 100,000 XRP per wallet, we can say it's down 0.42% in the last 7 days. So basically, as we can kind of see here, let's see, I don't have data on that. That's interesting. Let me go ahead and zoom in on this for a second here. See, 12th, there we go. So yesterday we had 33,331, and today, on the day, so the day yesterday and the day before yesterday, in fact, the 12th of July, if I can talk, was 33,561. That essentially means that we have lost again approximately 200 wallets at this level as well. So again, more exit liquidity has been generated from this level. So essentially, it looks like people with 100,000 XRP or more per wallet have used this move to the upside as a way of grabbing some of the liquidity out of the market. Moving over into the 1 million XRP per wallet, you can see it's down 1.83% in the last 7 days. And we can see here a slightly more sharper decline, this one being that it's moved from the 2,130 wallets down to 2,091 wallets. So again, losing approximately 40 wallets on there that have over 1 million XRP or more. Essentially, this looks like we are seeing a bit of a liquidity situation where it's being grabbed from the higher range and basically profits are being taken off the table. Again, this isn't terribly anything too unusual. There's many reasons for this. One, we can see the 0.382 level getting hit here. This is a nice natural area that you're going to see profits get taken from anyway. So nothing too alarming with that. We could also see within our Elliott wave theory structures, there is also another area that you're likely to see the profits getting taken. So for the most part, nothing unusual here is going on. Nice to see that XRP has the clarity, one of only a handful of cryptocurrencies in the United States that have this level of clarity now. So this really does put XRP right on the map there with other cryptocurrencies that have that kind of clarity. We can obviously note them as Bitcoin and Ethereum, but for the most part here, XRP has bulletproof clarity from the judge here that it is not a security, and that is a big game changer. So all eyes are going to be on XRP going forward. Lots more exchanges will be listing, in my opinion, over in the US, and I think this is going to be a fantastic turning point for the US cryptocurrency standpoints. I think this is going to be quite an enjoyable ride, but we've still got the case going to trial. That's going to be interesting. In my opinion, I think the SEC will be now seeking to settle with Ripple. The question will be whether or not Ripple will want to settle with the SEC, because I think there's a high probability here that the SEC would lose if it goes to the trial. So interesting times lie ahead here, I think, for XRP and for Ripple and the SEC and pretty much for cryptocurrency in the United States. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And yeah, if you found this useful, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Don't forget to join us down in Discord. And if you want to become a member, why not check out membership.cheekycrypto.io. I don't think you'll regret it. Until next one though, guys, have a fantastic day.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.